The world is changing fast. New technologies are impacting how we think about products, services, and the way we live our lives. Nowhere is this trend more present than in financial services, where new business models and customer expectations are changing our conceptions about banking, finance, and the very nature of money. Welcome to Rebank, a visionary podcast about banking, fintech, and the future. The future of banking is here. Hello and welcome to Rebank. I'm your host, Will Beeson. A couple weeks ago, we joined our friends at Innovate Finance in London for their annual VCs Take the Stage event, where we caught up with two of the headliners. The first interview you'll hear is with Alex MacPherson, CEO of Octopus Ventures, the £660 million venture capital arm of UK fund manager Octopus Group. Alex's fund has invested in and exited a handful of noteworthy AI companies, including Evi Technologies, SwiftKey, and Magic Pony, which were sold to Amazon, Microsoft, and Twitter, respectively. We also caught up with Carolina Brochado, partner at Atomico, another London-based VC firm. Atomico manages over $1 billion USD and has invested in 7 companies that grew to be worth more than $1 billion. Among those investments are games developer SuperCell and weather data company Climate Corporation, which sold to Monsanto. As always, connect with us on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, or on our website at bankingthefuture.com. If you like today's show, please subscribe on iTunes or your podcast platform of choice and leave us a review. Thank you very much for joining us today. Please welcome Alex MacPherson and Carolina Brochado. Alex, welcome to Rebank.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me here.
Can you tell us a bit about your background and how it informs your investment thinking?
Sure. I started my career in the city actually as an equity derivatives trader. I then came out, became fascinated by small business, founded my own business, which I then sold into Octopus, and we are a venture capitalist investing in exceptionally talented individuals, what we describe as unusually talented teams, in order to build and create big businesses. And that generally means global businesses. And a particular area that we're interested in is fintech.
Can you talk about some of the fintech investments you've made?
Sure. I mean, we've made a number of investments, and very specifically are businesses like Calastone, which is the transaction network for the mutual fund market. We've done a few things in property, whether that falls into fintech or not, but Zoopla Property Group was one of ours. And similarly, Property Partner, which is looking to create really the stock exchange for property as we go forward. We've recently invested in Token.io, which is looking to provide a platform for the banks as PSD2 comes through, a significant impact for banks as they go forward.
I think you've also made a number of AI investments, which maybe not squarely fintech, are probably tangential in a lot of ways.
Yes, and I think this is the interesting thing with regards to artificial intelligence, is that it spans many areas and different sectors. Where we've invested has actually been in the natural language processing area, so Evi Technologies, which was sold to Amazon and went on to power Alexa, SwiftKey, the text prediction business, which is sold to Microsoft, and most recently Magic Pony with video and video compression, which we sold to Twitter. And we're taking that knowledge and understanding, and a part of our fund is looking at AI to say, how can AI apply across areas? And if you think about AI is based on data, what does the financial services industry produce? Lots and lots of data.
What investment themes are you focused on in fintech?
So we look across the thing, and the area of focus that we've had over the last 12 months or so is the shaping of the insurance tech market. I think the insurance industry as a whole has been relatively slow to embrace new technology, and that's changing dramatically. There's lots of people in the chain, and where you have lots of people in the chain, there's often areas of efficiency that can be brought to bear. Brokers still charge 30%, and where they generate their leads from tends to be the site comparison sites. So we think there's opportunity for disruption in that area, and so have focused down there.
How far along are we, in your view, in the fintech investment thesis? I mean, we're now constantly hearing that fintech's overblown, that VC funding is dipping, this quarter versus last quarter, though it always seems to be up the subsequent quarter. It's kind of tough to follow. But from a VC standpoint, how much longer will the fintech play run?
I think you're seeing, actually, in my view, is we're just at the start of a change in evolution. It is amazing to think how pervasive our mobile phones have become, what you can deliver to that. That will similarly change as we go forward. So the whole digital mobile revolution is just starting, and the application into fintech. And if you think about, say, our banks and maybe new technology like distributed ledger, how can distributed ledgers assist our banks to help them come off some of their legacy systems that they have? I think that's a fascinating aspect of it, because we still have certain businesses that run on 1970s tech.
Let's wrap up with a few rapid-fire questions. What advice do you have for fintech founders?
Be really clear about what you want to achieve. So it's about the vision that you want to go and deliver, and then the execution about how you're going to deliver that. But always, our motto is look for the stars, you might get to the moon.
Are there any views you hold that most people disagree with, whether in the investment community or elsewhere?
So we fundamentally believe it is the entrepreneurs, the people in the business who are the people who create that business and take it forward. For us as an investor, it's all about how can we help create defining moments for those entrepreneurs. And by defining moments, they're the high five moments, get in there, it's a new contract, it's opening a new territory. But it's the guys and girls in those businesses that do it. So how can we best support them?
If you had to do it all over again, what would you do differently?
Oh, crikey, Riley. I think, I'm not sure there's a huge amount I'd do differently. I think the things I can't change is, my age and when I got into this game was, back in the 2000s when, frankly, European venture and fintech was not really sort of recognized. You look at the community today and the opportunities that exist today to address global markets so quickly and build really, really big businesses. I can't change that. But now, be an entrepreneur. Look at the kids coming out of universities. They want to be entrepreneurs. They don't want to go to investment banking or the professions.
Alex, what's the best way for people to find out more about your work and connect with you directly?
You can find us, one on the web, through Twitter. Reach out to us. We've got one of the largest teams in Europe focused on venture capital investing, and don't be strangers.
Alex MacPherson, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you. It's an absolute pleasure.
Carolina, welcome to Rebank.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Can you tell us a bit about your background and how it informs your investment thinking?
Sure, absolutely. So I'm from Brazil originally, and I moved to the U.S. for college and ended up staying there for a long time. I started off my career in finance. And during my time in private equity, working with very large companies, large sustainable businesses, I spent a lot of time in financial services. And one of the deals that we did was we acquired a majority stake in TransUnion, which is one of the world's largest credit bureaus. And I spent a lot of time with that management team thinking about the future and the tech and fintech, analytics and data and all those sorts of things. And that also was part of what made me decide to want to move earlier stage in investing. I knew I loved investing. I thought earlier stage would be that much more gratifying. And so financial services is a sector I've known for a long time and have followed, and I think that there's still a lot of disruption to come.
What investment themes are you focused on in fintech?
It's always a shifting thing, right? With I think there was the wave of obviously payments came first, although I think there's still a lot of disruption to come in payments. Then there was remittances, right, on that side of payments. And then we had the peer-to-peer lenders that are really marketplace lenders. I think today our view is to look at management teams who are really focused on data and really focused on using that data to create something powerful, because I think challenging incumbents on distribution is obviously incredibly hard. So you have to be doing something on the decisioning and the analytics side that is really powerful, in whichever silo you happen to fall into.
Can you talk about some of the fintech investments you guys have made at Atomico?
Yeah, sure. So our latest deal was LendInvest, which is a marketplace lender for mortgages. They are, a terrific team that has grown that business actually into profitability and at really high speeds, and are now trying to penetrate different areas of mortgage lending. So they started with development loans and are now trying to go into buy-to-let. So it's a really exciting time for the company and for us as well to sort of watch that trajectory, and as well as watch the shifting UK, both regulatory landscape as well as, the effects of Brexit on things like real estate as well. Our other sort of notable fintech investment was Klarna, which is the Swedish kind of payments company who's been doing a lot on the data, the analytics side, and getting e-com businesses to have better conversion and getting customers to have a more seamless experience online as well.
Broadly speaking, are there any specific technologies or macro trends that you expect to shape the next few years of startup investing in fintech and otherwise?
Yeah, I'll go back to my point on data, right? I think that if today you're not using data in a clever way, if you don't have a team looking at that, if you don't have some sort of, machine learning or AI component to what you're doing, then you're most certainly going to be left behind. Because I think that if you look at banking, right, with the challenger banks, I think the world's converging, right? Incumbents are getting smarter and are trying to get more nimble and get more technology in there. And startups are starting to partner with incumbents because of the distribution. So I think, the way forward is probably some combination between data, partnerships, and the AI machine learning bend.
How far along are we on the fintech trajectory? I mean, do you think that we're kind of reaching the end of maybe the first fintech cycle? Do you think VC interest will continue in fintech for the foreseeable future? What's your gut feeling?
Yeah, no, I think absolutely there's a lot more to be done, right? I think it's still one of the sectors that's most underpenetrated, I'd say. Maybe healthcare is less, but fintech is huge. Globally, it's a problem in many different ways. There's different problems to solve. Again, there's different aspects, right? There's what matters to the consumer, what matters to a business, what matters to different size businesses. So I think there's a lot to be disrupted still. Even again, going back to the example of banking, has banking really been disrupted? My answer is not really. So I think there's a lot to be done still.
Well, I guess it's almost a related question. I think I would agree with you that fintech hasn't been as quote-unquote disruptive as people expected it to be, hoped it would be. Does that mean it can't be, or does that mean it's coming, we just haven't seen it yet?
Yeah, I think as a venture capitalist, we're optimists. If we thought that something couldn't be done, then we wouldn't be in this job. We think everything can be done by ambitious entrepreneurs and the right support on the investor side. I think it's a difficult problem. It's people's money, right? It's a business's money, it's a consumer's money. So it's not as easy as a viral social network or an app where people are more willing to try. The average person stays with their bank for, 18 years. So it's something that people don't want to engage with. It's bills, it's spending, and it's something that's hard to engage with today. So I think it just takes more time, but it is incredibly valuable. So when people start cracking these things, and some companies have, right, and they're already worth multiple billions.
What advice would you have for fintech founders?
I think with fintech, one of the things I would say is always think ahead on the regulatory side. Everything's always shifting, and I find that certain entrepreneurs want to arbitrage between the rules today to experience high growth. And I think having a long-term sustainable plan on regulation and expansion, I think thinking global is always nice. And it works better in some business models than others. But I think engaging with the regulator early on is a really good thing to do.
Carolina, what's the best way for people to find out more about your work and connect with you directly?
Sure, I try to be as responsive as possible. My reply time may be slow, but LinkedIn is an okay way to get in touch with me, although sometimes I miss messages. So people should feel free to email me. It's just my first name, Carolina@atomico.com. And also, what works really well is warm referrals. So if you know a founder in the space who happens to know me or an angel investor, then get them to nudge me as well.
Carolina Brochado, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for tuning in to Rebank. If you like today's show, reach out. Follow us on Twitter at Rebank Podcast and join the conversation. For more on banking, fintech, and the future, check out our regular content at www.bankingthefuture.com.